Welcome to the first ever BestU event hosted by the Columbus Young Professionals Club and Flip Cancer Now. I'm Derek Grasso, President, CEO, and founder of the CYP Club, and I'm ecstatic that we could pull in such a tremendous crowd. So give yourselves a round of applause, please.
And I'm Greg Doherty, partner at the Porter Wright Law Firm here in Columbus. And again, just want to thank all of you for coming out. When Derek and I first started planning this event, end of last year, we had no idea it could be this big, and just kept coming together, and more speakers interested, and seeing all of you interested. So this is really, it's all because of you, so thank you. You'll be pleased to know that we're planning our next BestU event for April 24th as part of the Young Professionals Weekend, so save the date for that. And without further ado, we'll turn it over to the Fox ABC affiliate here in Columbus, morning news anchor, co-host of Good Day Columbus, Carolyn Bruck.
That went by really quickly. I was thinking, what am I going to say? Oh, shoot, now I have to think of something. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I never get to go out at night, ever. So I feel like a big kid. So we're all here to be inspired, right? So I was thinking about this. When I was asked to do this event, I'm like, me? Fit? I'm going to tell you a secret, and I'll totally deny it later. I have not been to the gym in 3 years. Awful, right? Well, when you wake up at 3 in the morning, that's what happens. So I, like you, am here to be inspired. So there are so many great speakers here. Columbus is such a great place. There's so many great people. I'm from Los Angeles, so I thought when I got the job interview here, Columbus, And then I came here, and I was like, this is the best kept secret. The people here. Not only are the people here the nicest. At first I thought people were being condescending because they were so nice. I was like, why are they asking me how I am? I'm fine. But that's how it is, when you're from a place where people don't know each other, where your neighbors don't really talk to you or really care, except for if your lawn is not manicured. So coming here, people care about each other. They're nice to each other. We've got a great football team, right? They just won. We had All-Star Weekend here, which was amazing. And did you know, I'm going to get this in because they wanted me to talk about the top 7 intelligent community. We're one of them. So not only are we athletic, nice, we know how to party, we're smart, which is so cool. And everyone here is here because their stories are amazing. Some of them I've interviewed on Good Day Columbus, others I have not. But again, I'm here to be inspired just like you. So, if you're going to take photos, by the way, because we're all about social media here. I don't want to forget this. Post photos and speaker quotes, because they're going to have some really great things to say. Use the hashtag CYP Club and hashtag BestU. Okay? I promise. Hey, do you know whose birthday it is today? Oprah Winfrey. Is that inspiring? Right? So think of Oprah when you think of my speech. I'm hoping. Save myself a little bit. All right, so there are speakers here. They each get 7 minutes. Christina Christian is first. She's from Columbus Soup. We have Patty Hanna, who's of Title Boxing Grandview, and I might need to get with Patty. You can, all right, work me out a little bit. Kimberly Jennings, Nationwide Children's Hospital. Erin Morrow from Wellness Innovations. Carl Seiley, who you just got married, right, Carl? Congratulations. From Flip Now. Julie Wilkes from 7 Studios, and Jason Yoon from Improvement Warrior Fitness. Jason, you could probably help me too. Yun. See? Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey. All right, so the first is Christina.
Well, my name is Christina. My last name also is Christian, and yes, that means my first and last name are the same letters. I want to talk to you a little bit about myself first. I am a little quirky. I like to laugh. I also love this city. I was born and raised here. Thank you so much. Born and raised in Columbus, and I truly believe that we are, I think, to echo Carolyn, that we are in an amazing city for young professionals. So Congrats, you made it here. Take advantage of it. In addition to that, so a little bit more about me is that is it going this way? Sorry, I think I just jacked up all my slides. Again, a bad way to start a presentation, hey? Oprah Winfrey? All right, we're good, everybody. We're good. That's over with. A little bit more about me, right? So one of my favorite traits about myself is I really am passionate about communities. That is one thing that drives me every day, and that's actually one thing I'm going to talk about today. Community, to me, is people that share a common passion, and then they support each other around that passion. So communities interest me every day, they inspire me, and they motivate me. What I'm going to share with you, though, today is how communities can shape you, and then how you, in turn, can shape that community. So I'm going to explain that through a little bit about what has shaped me and how I've gotten to be, I feel like, where I've gotten to be in my career, in my personal life, and I'll share those personal stories with you. But also, one of the biggest fascinations, though, I have with community is just the sheer power that they have. I'm sure all of you are familiar with Pelotonia, correct? Yes? Is that a yes? Perfect. So that is one amazing, amazing community that has raised over $82 million in 6 years. I was a part of that community, and if any of you have ridden, have any of you been a rider? Yes. So you should know how powerful that is. And it's amazing how communities can move mountains. So I'll take you back to when I was little. I think my knack, we'll say, for community started when I was really young. I grew up in a not-so-great part of town. No, I'm not going to tell you where. But I had a choice, right? I had a choice to succumb to maybe some bad surroundings or a bad situation, but I didn't. I really chose really great friends and surrounded myself with a great community that supported me and allowed me to use school as an opportunity not to be a bully, not to be a mean girl, right? But be there to learn and be there to be inspired by friends who I wanted to share my My Little Ponies with, and who I wanted to play in the playground with, and who I just felt genuinely supported me as I grew up as a child. We'll move on then to college me, right? In college me, I went to a really fantastic journalism school, OU, oh yeah? Any OU Bobcats out there? All right. I then discovered that journalism was not where I wanted to take my career. No offense, Carolyn. But I still stayed in the industry, sort of, and chose public relations. At the time, Otterbein, Go Cards, had an amazing public relations program, so I transferred. The point of all that is I picked myself up, I found a great community, and I dropped myself right in the middle of it. But not only did I want to just drop myself in the middle of it, I wanted to contribute to it, and I wanted it to help me thrive. So, to this day, I constantly join, contribute to, and learn from and grow because of amazing, incredible communities. The biggest point I want you to take away here, right, is you can't just join a community, right? You have to contribute. I think one of my favorite quotes is, "Comfort is your enemy." And I'm sure you guys have heard this, and if you haven't, it's something that I think about daily. If you're comfortable, you're not growing, and that's a bad thing. So, let's talk more about community, about what I think I've built and what I'm really proud of. As I mentioned, I am one of the co-founders of Columbus Soup. In 2012, this fine group of friends and myself wanted to change the face of philanthropy in Columbus. We took an already existing model and we created Columbus Soup. So what is Columbus Soup? Every quarter, we bring the larger Columbus community together and we listen to awesome community projects that are making an impact in Columbus. Our model is super simple, so take notes, right? We host this event, and you, as a community member, will attend this event. You'll donate $7 at the door to listen about these presentations, and then you'll enjoy a meal that is donated by awesome sponsors. At the end of this dinner, you vote on your favorite project, and that project takes home the cash that you donated right after the event, cash in hand out the door, to continue doing all the cool stuff that they're intending to do. To date, this community that we helped build just from a simple idea has raised nearly $12,000 for awesome local projects in Columbus. And again, thank you. Simple idea. We just wanted to build and rally people and build a community that was supporting other awesome things that are happening in the city. So, a little tidbit about me, right? In 2009, I went through a really, shall we say, unpleasant breakup, and I found myself with two choices. I could drink a lot. Some people do that, or I could do something else. I chose that something else, and I chose running. As this slide will state, running is way cheaper than therapy, which I learned. But to continue, I feel like that therapy, and save a little money, obviously, right, too. I joined a community, and I joined the Columbus Eastside Running Club that's kept me running for these last few years, and in May, I'll be running my 7th marathon. Thanks. So, in addition, I'm also a part of the Create Columbus Commission, and if you guys haven't heard of the commission yet, you should, because as a young professional in Columbus, you should know that there is a group of really dedicated individuals who are collaborating with City Council and the Mayor's Office to make young professionals awesome in Columbus and support those initiatives. We collaborate together to make community better for young professionals. And I should note here, we're not all Democrats. This is a photo that says, bring your ass to Columbus, but we're just working really hard to get the DNC here, So enough about me, though. This is the point, right? The point is you are also the community builder, right? You can create those communities that inspire you, that make a difference, that help you thrive. So how do you do that, and what are your tools? Well, you have 3 tools. You have passion. What are you passionate about? Where do you want to unleash that passion, and who do you want to collaborate to get there? You need people, right? So you can't build a community without those people who also share in that passion. And the last one, the last P here, is panache. Get in there, contribute to that community, and see the fruits of your labor really come to fruition. So, what are we building again? What is this community thing? I love this representation of community because, first of all, these guys are building an awesome freaking sandwich, right? Like, looks pretty great. Second, though, the point is that a one-dimensional sandwich is boring. And no offense to, you bologna and bread lovers, but it's a little boring, which is okay. But a sandwich like that, I want a sandwich like that. It has depth, it has dimension, and man, that sandwich is going to be great because of all the cool textures and all the cool things that bring together to make it a sandwich. So think of these various ingredients represented in this slide. These ingredients make this sandwich amazing. All of them come together to create one awesome freaking sandwich. So, lastly, the last couple of slides to wrap up a little bit. The final question is, how will you know that the community that you're creating is creating the best you? 1, you'll start telling yourself this. Basically, you start saying, hey, I don't care what you always think of me. I think I'm pretty awesome, and that's all that matters. 2, awesome ends in me, FYI, and you know what? That's a little bit of probably no coincidence. But then people start telling you this, and I'm not going to repeat it because it's on camera and I'm a classy lady, but people start telling you this. You build awesome communities, and then people start saying that to you. So, just remember, you're a product of the community you keep. I feel like I heard this somewhere, but I actually made that one up, so I'm pretty proud of myself. But that's the point here. You can create the community that inspires you every day. You just have to put a little effort into it. So, thanks.
The title of my little 7-minute discussion is called Powerful You. Isn't that clever? Playing off of the best you. My name is Patricia Hanna. I go by Patty. I have a PhD in educational leadership and policy, which you might be scratching your head asking yourself, why is somebody with a PhD going to talk about boxing and fitness and all of that? Well, let's find out. I'm a fitness trainer and the club manager at Title Boxing Club in Grandview. I'm also an advisor and a distributor for Advocare Nutrition. So if you have any questions about that, I'll be happy to speak with you after class. Ever the young professional. Okay. So someone asked me over at our booth what the theme of my talk was about, and I said, power. And they were like, what? Like, yeah, power. I think that it's a very important term when it comes to your own development as an individual human being, and also professionally, personally. So I think it's very interesting because I've had a lot of success in my life professionally. I was a teacher in Indiana for about 10 years before I relocated to Columbus to do my PhD at OSU. I was the youngest teacher of the year twice in Indiana for the Indiana Foreign Language Teachers Association and the Indiana Association of the American Teachers of Spanish and Portuguese. Graduated with honors, got a 4.0 on my master's, and then did my PhD in educational leadership and policy. Wow, how impressive, right? But while I had a lot of professional power, personally, I felt very, very powerless over a lot of things, and which was a gigantic incongruency in my life, right? Like, how can somebody who's such a badass professionally be so powerless feel so powerless over so many things personally? So it was just this huge incongruency. So, 5 years ago, I was not the boxing badass that you now see before you. I was 290 pounds. I was a pack and a half a day smoker and had been for 15 years. And on June 27th, 2010, I ended up in my first year of the PhD program. I was taking statistics at the time. That was awesome. The day I ended up in the emergency room with severe threats to my life. My whole right leg had what's called a rope clot, a deep vein clot. And unbeknownst to me, like, who knows how long I was carrying that thing around, but pieces of it broke free and started embolizing to my heart and lungs, and I ended up in the emergency room with a very high likelihood that I would die. I mean, the statistics on that are pretty atrocious in terms of pulmonary embolisms and things like that. But I didn't die. And there's a lot more to that story, which we obviously don't have time for now, but it started me on a fitness journey. So I'm about, for the first time, to publicly share my before pictures. Let's all practice a big gasp together. Ready? On the count of 3, we'll gasp together. Ready? 1. Now you have to really mean it. Like, you need to really pretend that you're horrified. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That wasn't really convincing. I'm going to go ahead and show you the pictures. So here we go. I just tapped this, right? Oh, no, sorry. One slide ahead of myself. Get ready to gasp again. All right, so while I was personally powerless, this is what my epitaph would have said on June 27, 2010, had I actually died. It would have said, "Here lies Patty, a beloved smoker, so dedicated, a faithful carbaholic, a dedicated couch potato, and a prisoner of powerlessness. Here we come. Rest in peace, powerless Patty." This picture, which I guess is in the upper left-hand corner, is a picture of me when I was about 280. So the day I ended up in the emergency room, I actually had put on another 10 pounds. That was about 6 months before I ended up in the emergency room when I was teaching in Spain. I lived in Spain and taught in Spain for a little while. And I climbed a mountain to a castle in this picture, and my students actually applauded me when I got to the top, because they didn't think I was going to make it, and quite frankly, neither did I. That was a very hard climb at 280. And then the other picture of me is just a close-up of my face. So, yeah. So I remember the day that, so by the way, now let's get ready to applaud. I've lost 110 pounds. And I've been maintaining for almost 5 years. You can clap a little louder if you want. I remember the exact moment where I became aware of this big incongruency in my life, because I had been obese my whole life. I was childhood obese. I was always the largest girl in class. I was driving home from OSU after one of my classes. I was also a research assistant, so I might have been driving home from work, I don't remember, but I was in my car, and I thought to myself, Patty, why are you so accomplished in every area of your life, and then this is a mess? Like, why do you believe that you can graduate from the top PhD program in your field in the country, and yet you don't believe that you can be fit? And I was like, literally, F that. I can be fit, and I can lose 100 pounds, and I'm gonna do it. I can do this. I can do it. I have power over this situation. And that was a pivotal moment for me, because I'd never faced that before. So I want to share with you 3 questions, maybe. Let's try it again. No? Can I get a little help here? There, okay. So 3 questions when you think about feeling powerful and being powerful. I think everybody, and I try to ask myself these questions pretty regularly now. So why don't I believe that I can what? What is it that you regularly tell yourself you can't do? Lose weight, eat nutritiously, quit smoking, when I'm such a badass professionally? You know you rock it. So why do you have this efficacy in certain areas of your life and not in others? If you can rock that presentation or close that sale or win that court case or teach children how to read, you're a badass. So why are you satisfied being less than a badass in other areas of your life, whether it's relationally or personally or whatever? So confront yourself about that. The next question, why am I satisfied or happy being overweight, a victim of my crazy schedule, addicted? Does that make sense? Should I be happy or feel satisfied when I'm overweight and a victim of, I say my schedule, I have no control over my schedule. I would work out, I would eat right, I wouldn't eat McDonald's every day if I didn't have such a crazy schedule. Really? That sounds to me like a lot of powerlessness. And I would suggest to you that you're not powerless. And the last question, why do I believe that I have no power over my situation? Is that actually true? And think about the times in your life on a day-to-day basis where you believe the lie that you have no power. You actually have a lot of power, and you're the only person in your life that actually has power over yourself. So, one last little slide here. So this is me at Title Boxing Club Grandview, and this was a little thing in my journal that I wrote when I was working on my fitness journey. It took me 14 months, by the way, to take off the weight. Success starts with progress. I see people in fitness establishments all the time, and people who know my story then begin to ask me, you know, how can this happen, and how did you achieve this success? And I'm like, you know what, I did it just like everybody else. I put one foot, I took the first step, and then I just kept going. And it was hard, and that's what you do. Like, yeah. Just the other day I was telling someone, we were in the club talking, in Title Boxing Club Grandview, talking about this kind of stuff. And someone said to me, I don't want to get a membership here because I'm not any good at this. I'm not fit. Everybody else here is fit. And I'm like, well, number one, that's not true. Number two, get over yourself. Nobody's looking at you when they're hitting that bag. Nobody is focused on you, believe me. Nobody's watching you, so get over your paranoia. But, and I said, well, it sounds to me like you're comparing yourself to people who do this for a living. And like, I got news for you. The people on Dancing with the Stars rehearsed for weeks and months, and like they didn't just get on that stage and rock it. Like they had to put in the time, day in and day out. So stop comparing yourself to people who are, you know, way more advanced. They weren't born advanced. They weren't born fit. Nobody's born with a six-pack like you. Everybody does it the same way. You take one step and you just keep going. So success starts with progress. Progress starts with taking the first step and then continuing to put one foot in front of the other. And then there is an inertia and a momentum to change. Good decisions generate better decisions. Better decisions generate the best decisions, and the best decisions generate the best you. So I'll be around afterwards if you want to talk. That's my contact information. That's me and another trainer there at Title Boxing Club Grandview. Thank you for your time.
And tonight's event is actually titled Best You. But I can't tell you how to be the best you, but I can tell you how I became the best me. And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to say tonight. And I only came up with actually 2 reasons. The first one is because Derek knows he can ask me to do just about anything and I'll say yes. The second one is because I think at the end of the day, people always see me smiling. They always see me happy. And so I think that that is why I connect so much with people, because they want to know why, after all that I've been through, I still have a positive outlook on life. So my story starts back in 2009. I lost my maternal grandmother to cancer. Just 1 year later, I lost my paternal grandmother to heart disease. Not even a whole year after that, I lost my mother to breast cancer. And that is when I hit rock bottom. I started spiraling out of control. I was angry, I was upset, confused, I became unconfident. I didn't know what happened. In 2.5 years, I lost every influential African-American woman in my life. And so I was left on my own. I was a completely different person than what you guys see today. I was evil and I was vindictive. But then something happened. A friend grabbed me and they said, you know what? I want you to come to church with me. And I said, okay, that's fine. It's not gonna help, I've been there before. And so, when I got there this day, the pastor told a story. He said, do you know when you're a little kid and you go outside to play? Well, you know how most parents tell you, just be home before the street lights come on. Well, that's what his father used to tell him. He used to go outside and play. All he had to do was be home before the street lights came on. And then he made a connection that sticks with me until this day, and this is why I'm telling you this story. He said, how is life any different from a parent telling their child to be home before the street lights come on? God gives us this life, so to speak, to play. We just have to be home before the street lights came on. So it's unfair for me to be mad at God for taking my mother or my grandmothers away because I wasn't ready. He was ready and it was their time to come home. And once I heard the pastor tell that story, it kind of clicked in my mind. The light bulb went off and I was like, okay, I get it. I finally understand what life is about. And so that was like the rebuilding moment in my life. And so I took the emotions from that time, from that particular moment, and I turned it into something positive. So I started volunteering. I started working with Susan G. Komen. I started working with More Than My Brother's Keeper. And I started working with a lot of other disadvantaged youth organizations here in Columbus. I continually poured myself into other people. I continually gave back. I did everything you could possibly think of. I became Soarer of the Year. I was Volunteer of the Month. I have rewards and accolades galore from that time period in my life. But the one thing that I forgot to do was pour back into myself. And so while it felt great to help somebody else, at the end of the day, I was empty. I was exhausted and I didn't know what to do. And that was another aha moment for me in my life. I finally realized that life is this balancing act between giving and regrouping. And so I finally feel like today I understand. I know what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm gonna give you guys my 7 things that I do daily to help me make sure that my life still stays in balance. The first one is trust God. I talk about God a lot because of what I went through. Not everybody may have the same viewpoint as I do, but for me, that's my motivation and that's my balance. I know that as long as I look to Him and I trust Him, He will never leave me nor forsake me. Next, I learned to say no. Now, obviously, I'm still working on this one because I'm here giving this talk today. But I've realized that I don't have to do every committee. I don't have to be at every event. I don't have to work every long hour that they offer. I realize that my no doesn't stop the world from spinning. It preserves my peace of mind. I smile and I laugh. After all I've been through, I realized that life is hard enough as it is. I just need to take the time to laugh and have a good time. I realized that if I smile, I can make 10 other people smile, and those 10 people can make somebody else smile. Exactly. Be healthy. The whole concept of this is just to be healthy, live a more positive lifestyle. And I finally realized that. When I had bad days, I would go to opposite end of the spectrum. I would either not eat or I would eat everything in sight. And so now I realize that there's a happy medium. Like, I realize that if I have some tension or anxiety, I can go sweat it out at the gym and I feel 10 times better. Now this one right here is my absolute favorite thing to do. I will sleep for days if I was allowed to. But the one thing my mother used to tell me growing up, she could always tell what was wrong with me by my sleep patterns. If I'm having a bad day, I wouldn't sleep, or I would toss and turn in my sleep all night. So if you guys ever want to know truly how I'm doing, ask how many hours of sleep I have. I help others. When you find your passion in life, go with it, cultivate it. My passion is helping others and making sure that other people are happy. That's just a part of me and that's who I am. And so in order to keep balance in my life, I still have to do that and make sure that others around me are happy. And then finally, I don't forget. I've been through a lot. My past is my past, it's never going away. But my past has helped build me to who I am today. And for that, I can continually look back and say, if I made it through that, I can make it through anything. Viktor Frankl said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. I still have bad days, I still have rough times, but I now know that I have a choice in how I'm going to react to those situations. You guys are going to hear, and you have heard, 7 different stories about how people get through their tough times or their inspirational tips for you. You have a choice today to decide which one of these tips, or what tips you're going to take and incorporate into your life to make you the best you.
I just wanted to share with you just a really quick minute about what my passions are and what I portray the passions of Wellness Innovations to be. First and foremost, I love to help organizations and companies dodge the insurance companies and save money on their healthcare costs. But my really big passion is I was a fitness instructor and yoga instructor, it seems like in another life. And so I love helping people make that transformation and seeing that light bulb go off on the top of their head and just really make positive lifestyle changes. And I am a firm believer that a company or an organization is really only as strong as its employees. So I'm just going to share with you a little bit tonight some pieces of information that will really help you become consumers of your own healthcare. There we go. All right, so healthcare reform laws, you hear it called different things: Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. People call it different things. Those combined with a lot of the other laws that we're dealing with today, the ERISA laws, GINA laws, HIPAA, what they're doing is they're creating a lot of confusion. They're making today's healthcare environment very negatively charged. No matter where you look, you're seeing healthcare increases, no matter if you're an organization or if you're an individual. It's going to trickle down. If you haven't experienced it, it will eventually. And what that's affecting is sustainability in this country. So what we're experiencing is companies are having to cut their benefits packages. It's affecting the cost of our healthcare. It's affecting jobs, salaries, growth, bonuses, I mean, pretty much you name it. And also what it's affecting is basically wellness programs clarity. I'm sure most of you here tonight work for an employer that has at least some type of wellness program in place. But again, there's a lot of noise in this space, a lot of confusion going on. So what we help employers do is really kind of help clarify, decipher the confusion, and just really, kind of quiet the space so they can make educated decisions. So kind of like what I said a minute ago, I am a firm believer that employees are an organization's most important asset. Getting them to focus at work and on work that matters, very, very, very difficult, as I'm sure some of you have experienced. How many of you in here tonight are in a managerial position that oversee people, right? Some of you? I'm sure the statistic probably isn't very surprising to you. There are statistics out there that really kind of cover the gamut that would surprise you, but one of them is that managers can spend up to 16 hours a work week dealing with their subordinates' mistakes. That's 2 hours during the day. So imagine if you were in an environment where 100% of the people were giving 100% of their effort 100% of the time. So that's a pretty high bar, 100% focus, 100% of the time, but that's not really manageable in like a normal situation. But what is manageable is addressing preventable conditions and chronic conditions and chronic illnesses. So what happens if an employer as a group or you as an employee doesn't have preventative measures in place? Well, basically you're going to pay more for healthcare. And kind of like what I said before, even if you're not personally experiencing it, you're experiencing it in some ways, and it's eventually going to trickle down. So there are some, as you can kind of see in this graphic, there's some average costs that are kind of floating around out there that you can expect to pay if you have one of these 5 major chronic conditions. And I don't know if any of you have, if you notice anything on this graphic, but typically these conditions go hand in hand. So very rarely does somebody have an issue with BMI and not high blood pressure, or very rarely does somebody is somebody a smoker but doesn't have high blood pressure. So if you look at these costs, then you can really see why our healthcare costs are out of control. So I'm sure a lot of you here have worked for or do work for an organization that has experienced healthcare increases, over the past year or two. We worked with an employer earlier on this summer that was looking at an 85% increase in their healthcare. So when you hear of situations like that, when you hear of health plans doubling, that is not an urban myth. Those are actually very, very, very real situations. So think to yourself right now how much you're paying right now for your health plan, for your benefits. And imagine what that would look like if it all of a sudden increased, 10%. 30%, even 85%. Imagine, what that would look like coming out of your pocket. If an employer experiences just a 10% increase every single year, that's going to double what you're paying within approximately 7 years or so. So I'm sure you guys have all kind of seen the Progressive commercials with Flo, with the car insurance. So kind of like where you're a good driver, so you're going to get rewarded, you're going to pay less for health insurance. Well, bona fide wellness programs, the wellness programs that really address prevention, they work very much the same way. So goal-based plans are plans that address prevention and that basically allows employees and participants on the plan to be consumers of their own health care, where you have the opportunity to even pay less. So metrics are the key. We're very, very, very big about metrics. When I was a personal trainer, I was very big about assessments and assessing everything that we could, getting as much data as we could, and then really kind of assessing the progress that individuals make. It's really cool because you can do that from a health standpoint, and you can also do it from a financial standpoint as well. So to be consumers of your own healthcare with a focus on prevention, basically you need to focus on the wide spectrum of wellness. Fitness is a wonderful tool when we talk about wellness, gym memberships and personal trainers, things like that. Nutrition, the same thing. But there are a lot of other things that we look at when we look at wellness. And ultimately, if you address all of these different things, one of them is going to be the cornerstone of your own personal wellness plan. And it's really going to kind of build a strong foundation for that success. So for all of you kind of numbers geeks out there like I am, just want to kind of share with you some of the statistics that we have in place. We have a lot of case studies. We've done some really great things with employers as a group, but also with individual employees. We worked with employees that have been to their doctors for years and years and years, same types of medication, different medications, just really addressing the symptoms, not the problem. And we were able to, in a short period of time, really kind of turn that around. And you can see from this one case study, in just 18 months, we reduced tobacco users by 50%, high blood pressure by 91%, LDL cholesterol by 67%, and took the number of diabetics from 7 to 1, and really addressed some of those like really urgent and critical situations. And here's where it's really cool. Typically, in today's environment, we ask employers to set aside 10% of their healthcare costs for preventative measures for their employees. With this particular employer, we came in 4.5% under budget, showed them a nearly 5-to-1 hard dollar savings and a 17-to-1 return on investment. We also helped them extend a 0% renewal on their insurance premiums for a period of 17 months. And we've done this for a number of employers. We have multiple clients with 0% renewals, so kind of imagine that job security that you would have to know that you have a benefits plan, a competitive benefits package, that your healthcare costs are not going to increase, at least for a period of time. We're also able to take clients to self-funded plans where they weren't able to afford benefits before, where they weren't able to provide benefits to their employees, which is really cool. And we can help them experience immediate hard dollar savings. Literally, we have helped clients experience hard dollar savings with us in day one, just from signing a contract, which is really cool. We can also help insurance carriers reimburse for healthcare costs and wellness costs for the employees. So that's just kind of like a little bit about, being consumers of your own healthcare, being conscious of what's happening in the healthcare space right now, and just being conscious of, doing every single thing that you can to, take those preventative measures. I think if employers really take the responsibility to put good, successful wellness programs in place, and employees take the responsibility to be consumers of their own healthcare, then we really will, make this world a better place and make a difference in the healthcare. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you guys all so much for coming out. I think this is a really cool event, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to get up here and talk about our other organization, which is FLIP. FLIP is related to VIEW, but we'll talk about that in a second and kind of how the two are related. Before I jump into FLIP, just a quick show of hands. How many people in this room have been impacted by cancer in some way or another? How many of you have lost somebody to cancer? And are there any cancer survivors in the room? It's crazy to see those hands go up, and we're all impacted by cancer, and it's astonishing how many of us, as we get older in life, will realize how real cancer is. I lost my father to cancer in 2010, and his nickname was Flip, so obviously that's the whole the reason for naming the organization Flip. But the motivation behind the movement itself is about people. It's about people coming together and showing that we're bigger than cancer, that we're more powerful than cancer, and that it can be beat and that we can prevent it. Like I said, it's going to be a little sloppy here. All right, so anyways. So FLIP, prevention is power. FLIP is a cancer prevention nonprofit, and our goal is to increase awareness, to reinforce education, and to inspire action, to turn that education into action. So the truth is that cancer happens. We all know it. But the good news is that some experts say that over 90% of cancer is preventable. So what do we do about it? Our approach is to help you. Our mission is to help you avoid cancer. Our approach to do that is by making it fun, making it simple, making it socially connected, like events like this one, and making it community supported by connecting you with folks like this and all of the great, incredible resources that are available in Columbus. So the next slide is why cancer, why prevention. There's lots of diseases out there to battle. There's lots of healthy things we can do, so why are we focused on cancer? For us, it's the most damaging. It's 19% higher in cost than the next highest on the list, which is heart disease, to the tune of, I think, $895 billion that it costs the U.S. The second is, cancer has the most room for preventative improvement. As I mentioned earlier, that cancer rates continue on the rise. It will increase 45% by the year in the next 20 years. This year in Ohio, there'll be over 66,000 new cancer cases. But yet, it's the disease we continue to react to, or continue to take a reactive approach to and be the least preventative about. So we have the most room for preventative action against cancer. Cancer is also targeted, specific, and very real. It's a kid's disease, it's a young person's disease, it's an old person's disease. We all have our story. We all want to attack it in a different way. And I think what's neat about that is that we all have our own story, but we all want to beat cancer so badly. So this is about a movement coming together and showing that, again, we're more powerful than cancer. And again, kind of the last point here is why cancer? Why focus on just cancer? Preventing cancer means so much more. So if you we think any chronic disease, if you're taking the steps to prevent any chronic disease, you're going to lower your risk of all those other diseases that Erin had up on the chart there. You're also going to be doing things that are better for the environment. As we start to take care of ourselves more, we'll realize that it's very closely related to how we treat the environment, and the two go hand in hand. As we continue to damage the environment, we're increasing our risks of getting cancer. It'll have a community impact. Again, going back to the economic figures, and just staying in the workforce longer. And I also have a more, along the same lines, economic stimulation. So what do we, who is Flip, what do we do? Again, if you kind of come back, it boils down to awareness, education, and action. We kind of organize our efforts under our acronym. FLIP stands for Fight, Live, Inspire, Prevent. So each one of those has its own unique mission within the overall mission. So FIGHT's all about that effort of us coming together and forming a movement and attacking this together. And that goes back to, I kind of said the underlying things that were about how our approach to cancer. That one ties very closely to community. So Live. Live's about how you live your life, staying active, having fun, doing the things that we're supposed to as individuals, and we'll automatically start to lower our risks of cancer and other chronic diseases. And again, that one's all about having fun. Inspire. So it's great that we're all here and listening to this. That means we're in tune to our health. We're motivated to be here one way or another. But it can't just stop at that. We have to reach out to other people. We have to go, and the next time you attend an event like this, bring somebody with you. Next time you sign up for a 5K this summer, invite your friend to join. Maybe it's someone that doesn't typically do a 5K or doesn't walk or isn't active. It doesn't have to be such I think you're unhealthy and you need to do this. It could be more of an invite, something really simple. But we have such an opportunity as humans. That's one of our weapons that we have to fight back with is inspiration, to continue to inspire ourselves and continue to inspire others. So those are some of the things that the Flip does. So you can kind of see under each of these buckets we have links here, they're not active, but they take you to things on our website that we're doing to do these things. So under Live, it was events and classes and programs. Under Inspire, it's connecting you to inspiring stories, inspiring people, and just ways to share those messages then with other people. And lastly, Prevent. So prevention is, again, all about being empowered. It's education, action, early detection, and simple flips. As you start to hopefully follow Flip, you'll find out that we promote simplicity. We call them simple flips. There's so many easy things that you can do in your day-to-day life that it doesn't have to be about going to the gym. It doesn't have to be so hard. If you're not a gym rat, that's fine. If you are, there's a couple of people up here that would love to talk to you. But if you haven't been to the gym in 3 years, that's okay too. Because there's simple things, I mean, she's on her feet all day, I'm sure there's simple things you can do throughout the day, walking further. Just simple additions to your lunch, simple deletions from your lunch, just the way you grill out. And there's a lot of fun things you can do, and they're all simple. So we try to share those easy ideas with people. So then what can you do? So this is all about you being the best you. So under those same buckets, the first thing, fight. Join the movement. Sign up for Flip, and you can do that on your way out. Over by the bar, there are wristbands, so take a wristband and leave your email. Join our movement, follow us online, follow us our social media, because we're posting these ideas, we're trying to educate you, and we're trying to get you to come to events like this, and we do lots of different classes here. So the next one is Live, what you can do in terms of how it relates to us. Stay active. We're starting to host classes here, and this is my opportunity to kind of talk about how the two are related. So we opened up View as a way for Flip to have a place to live. Before, we were only online and sharing our information over social networks and through our newsletter. Now we have a physical location that we can start offering more programs. So we have the first one that we started with, we're just starting to kick off yoga classes on Monday nights and Saturday mornings. We're going to start adding to that, doing other things. But if you connected with Rachel Kerr, she's currently leading our yoga classes, so make sure to check in with her. Be inspired. So again, it goes back to the message I just said. Inspire someone. Next time you attend this event, bring somebody with you, or tell somebody about this event, or something similar. Or connect someone that you know to one of these stories, or one of the service offerings that they provide. And lastly, Prevent. This comes back to starting with education. And I was going to have had time to click over to our website to show you how you can find the different sources of information. Go to our website, flipnow.org, and scroll through. Start educating yourself. Take it one step at a time. Focus on one thing each month, because it can be a little overwhelming. But again, if you try to bite off small pieces and keep it simple, you see some progress. And lastly, get involved. We're always looking for people to add to our team. We're 100% volunteer driven. So we're looking for board members, we're looking for volunteers. Please feel free to reach out to us if you'd like to get more involved. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.
My name is Julie Wilkes, and before I get started, I have a favor to ask of you. I know you've been standing there for a little while, so if you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to do 10 of either arms over your head, shoulder presses, or squats. So go ahead. Some of you look to be overachievers. He's got that Orphean. Very good. Wow. Well, first of all, something just happened. So you've been standing for a while. So we just increased blood flow to your brain. So hopefully you'll be able to listen to me and pay attention. No, but also you increase blood flow to the brain, you automatically get new energy. You get that release of endorphins that exercise is so great at doing to help you feel good. And I want you to feel good as you're listening to me talk. I want you to remember it. So there's so many good things that happen, and then you laughed. Anytime you laugh, you create that sensation in your brain again that you are happy and feeling good, and that's what I want for you. So that's why we start off that way. So let me start off my story today with this photo. It's of a bouquet, and this is really the story that defines my life, or this picture will really define my life. You see, when my mother was 7 months pregnant, she went hiking and picked a patch of wildflowers. As she was admiring her wildflowers, she realized that there was a nice big patch of poison ivy right in the center, and she realized, or found out that day, that she is toxically allergic to poison ivy. So much that she touched her mouth, she was having trouble breathing, and when she touched her mouth, the allergic reaction went systemic, ended up attacking the fetus, and it damaged the umbilical cord. So from 7 months on, I did not get the proper nutrition needed in order to fully develop. Now some people ask if that's why I'm so short. It is not. But so from 7 months on, I didn't get the proper nutrition, and at 10 months, a month overdue, they found that my mother was drastically losing weight, they couldn't detect a heartbeat, and they thought I had died in the womb. So they took me by cesarean section, pronounced me dead. A few minutes later, after all resuscitation efforts had stopped, I started to cry. And the doctors came back and said, she's a fighter, she's trying to live, but there's no medical reason why we could explain that she could thrive or survive life for any amount of time. So it happened several times that day when my heart would stop, they would stop resuscitation efforts, and then on my own I would come back. And so the doctors at first, there's a picture that was drawn here, and this was a few months after, but they drew a picture of my heart, and what they had said is that my heart hadn't fully developed, and that one side, the ventricle, which is the one that pushes the blood into your body, had many holes in it, and it was not and the valves were broken and not working correctly, so I was not able to get blood flow into my body, or oxygenated blood flow. But amazingly, they said that I would have minutes to live. Those minutes turned into hours, turned into days, turned into weeks, turned into months. At 6 months, they wrote miracle across my charts because they couldn't explain how I was surviving, but not only surviving, but they used the word thrive. And I love the definition of the word thrive. It means to be good today, but expect to be even better tomorrow. But the doctor said that there would be no chance that I would live a long life, so that I needed to just embrace and enjoy life each and every day, that my mother should just teach me as a young infant to embrace life. So I grew up knowing that I had limited time. So there's some themes in my life that I found right away. As a young child, I found that it was really great to play, to find joy each and every day, and to be kind to others. So those were some themes I found as I was growing up. In the 5th grade, I was in gym class, and I was one of the girls that sat on the sidelines because I thought my heart was too sick to do anything athletic. And my gym teacher pulled me aside, and he said, why don't you participate? I really would like for you to run against the fastest runner in the 5th grade in this event. And I said, no way. My heart is sick. I can't do anything fitness. You know, I'm gonna step out. And he said, Julie, what the mind believes, the body can achieve. If you think that you're sick, you're sick. If you think you can overcome this, if you think you can be strong and powerful in your life, you can. And those words were some life-changing words for me. I still am very friends with him today, Mr. Larson. He is my life coach, my mentor, my inspiration, because he changed my life that day. Because I was settling for what I thought my life would be. But what I found is my life could be so much more. So I started to run, and my heart started to improve. My life expectancy went from 12 to 18 to 24 to 30. And what I started to find is as I became healthier and healthier, I had more and more dreams. I had more and more opportunities. I had more and more possibilities that I found in my life. I started making big plans. I started dreaming big. I love this picture here of this little dog lifting this big weight. I feel like that's a great example of that was me. Though be but little, I am fierce. I was out there looking to make a big impact with whatever time I had in my life. And as I was out there doing that, I found that there was this tug at my heart because I went into graduating with a great degree. I ended up working for a great company when I was in my 20s. But what I found was that I had this tug at my heart to give back. Because you see, I found that health and fitness gave me a second chance at life. And that was a gift. But a gift is only as good as what you do with it. And I had to listen to that tug at my heart to go do some other things. I found that this idea is my message is my life. Mahatma Gandhi said it, but it's true. My message is my life. However I choose to live my life is a message, and I believe that the purpose my life was meant to give, the reason why I was given a little bit more time, was to share that when you're healthy, when you're happy, when you're taking care of yourself, doors open where only walls were before. So health and happiness gave me a second chance at life. And one of my themes is, but it's only as good as what you do with it. So I took those ideas and I ended up writing a book, a motivational book. I called it 7, the 7 Life Miracles. I opened up a yoga bar, Pilates yoga boot camp studio just down the street here called 7, which is named after the 7 Life Miracles, 7 things you can do to live a powerful life. I developed this aromatherapy line tied into those things, and I started to find that every time I would try something new, doors would open up. It was because I was stepping into this space where I was taking the gift I was given, the passion, the purpose that I think my life was about. And every time I was using that, things happened that I couldn't explain, but really cool things. I had the chance to go on Fox News in New York. I had the chance to sit on a panel at the White House and share information about how to live healthier and happier lives. I had all these things happen I was so excited about. But I found that as all this stuff was happening, that some common themes started to come back again. The same themes that I had as a child. Life is about finding joy. And when you're healthy and happy, it's much easier to do that. Life is about playing around. These are photos of me doing acro yoga, which is one of my favorite ways to play. And we can never be too old. As adults, we find that responsibilities tend to cause us to maybe forget about being playful. But being playful is so important, and that was something I learned when I was young, and it's still true today. And that whole idea of being kind, giving gratitude, being kind to each other, leaving the world a little bit better than as we came into it, well, all those things are so much easier to do when you're focused on taking care of you. So I have a few pieces of advice or ideas for you. So it's not necessarily, health and fitness is not necessarily a clothing size. It can be one of your goals, but it's really about your awesome life. It's about loving your life when nobody's looking. It's about doing the things that you want to do in your life and feeling good about who you are, the decisions you make, and stepping into your purpose, your power, the things that you were given, the gifts you were given in your life. So my advice, I've called this the Happy Inspired Life Prescription. Play most days of the week. If that's a workout, if that's going to the mall and walking 10 times before you allow yourself to buy something, whatever it is, play most days of the week. Fuel your body with good energy. That doesn't mean go eat rice, crackers, and lettuce, or whatever, it means think about when you take food in that you're taking in good energy so that you can give out good energy most of the time. Tell someone else about your goals because studies will tell us that when you tell someone else, you're much more powerful and you're much more likely to achieve them. Find gratitude each and every day because that's the quickest way to put positive energy in your life, and whatever you give out is what you get back right away. And then spread that positive energy. And I want to have you guys now do this as the way that we'll finish off today. So I want to start a ripple effect with all of you today. So when I think about living a healthy, happy life, all those things, it's not just about your workouts or your nutrition. It's about loving your life, being happy, putting good energy out there, and taking it back in with you too, and really enjoying your life. So I want you to turn to the person near you, and I want you to just give them a compliment. If you can't think of anything, just tell them you're glad that they're here tonight. You guys are very good at this. Okay. So, did I just create happy hour? It's a new way of happy hour. So what just happened is you just gave somebody a compliment, or at least it made you laugh, whatever you were trying to think to say, and that person just felt good. And studies will tell us that not only did you make them feel good, but whenever we tell somebody something nice, we also feel good too. So you created that ripple effect. And that person may go now say something nice to someone else, and we can move the world in a little bit more powerful, happy place. So with that, I want to finish off by thanking you for allowing me to share some of these ideas with you. Come play with us at 7 Studios. Come talk to me afterwards. I'd love for you to share some of your powerful tips for living. I love talking about that stuff. But as I finish off, when you take care of your soul, everything else just seems to work out. Doors open where only you saw walls before. Mountains move out of your way when you take care of yourself first. So this is me and my dog looking out at Antrim Lake, just enjoying the day after a nice walk. And it makes me really happy to look at this. So surround yourself with things that make you happy. In yoga, we say namaste. And namaste means may the best in me honor the best in you. So I say namaste. May the best in me honor the best in you. Thanks for coming to BestU tonight.
My name is Jason Yun. If you want to learn more about me, just go to jasonyunfitness.com. Yun is spelled Y-U-N. But want to get into the presentation, I know I'm the last person and you're probably antsing to get out of here, but I've got a lot of information for you. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Okay? So I want to start out, I'm going to be talking about something that you have basically been lied to about for over 50 years, and you continue to be lied about it today. Okay? But I want to start out by saying, don't believe me, okay? Don't believe a word I say on this topic, because the information is out there, it's readily accessible, and I think by what you're going to learn today about this topic, it's going to cause you to make and take some drastic action, okay? And that's what we need, change. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, okay? I am searching for the truth. I used to follow and preach the what's being taught today about this topic, and it made me very sick, and it's making other people very sick and unhealthy, and ultimately it's ending in their death, which does not need to happen. Okay? What I'm talking about today is cholesterol. Okay? So we're all told to avoid cholesterol, which will include high-fat foods. Okay? Lies, lies, and more lies. Okay? The lower your cholesterol is, overall, the higher your mortality risk or your risk of dying from all diseases increases. Okay? So what is cholesterol? Cholesterol is an essential molecule. Okay? It is, without it, there would be no life. Okay? It's so essential that every single one of your 60 to 100 trillion cells has the ability to synthesize cholesterol itself. Okay? Some benefits. All right? The brain. All right? Your brain contains 25% of your total cholesterol. Okay? 1/5 of your brain weight is actually cholesterol. Okay? The fat-soluble vitamins, the digestion of them, okay? Vitamins A, D, E, and K, okay? Would not happen without cholesterol. Okay? Just remember, vitamins and minerals control your enzymes. Enzymes control your hormones. Hormones control you. Okay? That includes everything about you. Weight loss, fat loss, how you perform, how you sleep, how you eat, everything about you. But it starts with cholesterol. Okay? The sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen. Okay? These need to be in balance in both men and women, and if they're not, if estrogen goes too high, that's when bad things start to happen. Breast cancer, colon cancer, body fat, okay? But again, it starts with cholesterol, okay? So what are the detriments to cholesterol? None, okay? There are none. That's one of the lies that have been told out there. Unless you have the wrong type of cholesterol, which I'll get into here in a bit. Total cholesterol is pretty much a worthless number, okay? It's like switching seats on the Titanic, okay? Doesn't really matter. If you do have a doctor who recommends getting a total cholesterol test, highly recommend finding a new doctor because they're stuck back in this dogma here. Okay. So LDL, HDL, this is the test that's important, the stuff that's important to know. Okay, you want to know what your particles are. Okay, so we all know LDL to be the bad cholesterol, and we all know HDL to be the good cholesterol, right? Not anymore. Okay, from this day forward, not anymore. So there's good LDL, there's bad LDL, there's good HDL, there's bad HDL. Okay, that's why it's so important to know your particles, so you can know if you're healthy or if you need to start making lifestyle changes right now, or if you need to start making funeral arrangements. Okay. All right, so with cholesterol, fat is tied in with cholesterol, and it's usually tied in pretty negatively, okay? Meaning we're supposed to avoid it at most cases, okay? Especially saturated fat, okay? Saturated fat and DHA, which is omega-3 fatty acid fish oil, are the two most important fats for your health, your body, and your brain, okay? So all this talk about your brain, because if you lose your mind, you are basically going to die, okay? Alzheimer's disease is now a top 10 killer in the United States, all right? It's not a genetic disease, it's not an old person disease, all right? It is a nutritional disease, okay? They're now referring to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes, okay? Because basically if you get it, you're basically a dead man walking, all right? And it sucks for your family too. My grandma had dementia. She wouldn't let me into her house because she couldn't recognize me, all right? Even though I showed her my license, she still wouldn't let me in. It doesn't take 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years to get Alzheimer's or dementia or any cognitive decline. It takes decades, okay? But it starts now. It starts with what you feed your kids in kindergarten as teenagers, what you eat in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond. So they did a study showing 1 in 100 people will go through life without any cognitive decline. So no brain decline at all. And that's because the majority of people are eating the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet. So it's high carb, low fat, low cholesterol. Okay. So why are they lying to us? Okay, so this is the reason why. The cholesterol lowering industry is a $29 billion industry. All right, that's 29 billion reasons to lie to you, your parents, your grandparents, to lie to everybody. Okay, so statins. Okay, if you don't know what statins are, they're the drug store. You see the commercials all the time on them. So they actually stop the production of cholesterol in your body. Okay, and I think we've determined it's pretty important just in 5 minutes. So if you actually know somebody who is on a statin drug, highly recommend getting the resources, taking a look at it, getting off of it as soon as possible, because it's truly killing people and it's making them stupider. Okay? So we need cholesterol, all right? We don't blame the firefighters for starting fires, right? That's one of the reasons cholesterol was thrown under the bus and still is getting thrown under the bus today, okay? The reason we have all this sickness, all these diabetes cases, obesity, chronic diseases, is because of inflammation, okay? Inflammation opens us up to everything, okay? Including colds and flus and all that stuff, all right? So how do we get inflammation? We get it from the foods that we eat, the toxins we take in our body, and the toxins we put on our body, okay? So say you eat some bad food that causes you to get inflamed. Your body's going to send cholesterol in to do its job. It will send other antioxidants as well. Cholesterol is also antioxidant, which will protect the body. So it does its job, it protects, it fights, it heals whatever area it needs to heal, and then it moves on. Okay? The problem is most people are eating carbohydrates, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. Okay? So a high carbohydrate diet is a high inflammation diet. Okay? So you basically could have little civil wars going on in your body all day long. Okay? And the problem is if your cholesterol is too low, or you have the wrong type of cholesterol, the bad type of cholesterol, you're going to run out. And when you run out, that's when the chronic inflammation starts to happen. Okay? The chronic inflammation is when you're going to get the big boys, the cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, autoimmune diseases, okay? All kinds of things. All right? So that's not the stuff we want to avoid. All right? So we want to eat cholesterol, eat fat, you'll be happy. Okay? And that's what matters. So stay strong, stay positive, always be the improvement warrior. So thank you very much.